Okay. Hello, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed the Great Unite this year and hope you're doing well after yesterday's party. So my name is Dmitry. My second name is too difficult for non-Russian people to just spell it, so just forget about that. Today we're going to talk about Unity pipeline in a project called Prime Vault. I'll introduce it soon, and here's the content of my speech. Today contents. Okay, we got it on the screen. So first of all, I'll introduce myself and Nival as a company, as I'm working in. Then we talk a little bit about what the pipeline is in reality. We're going to talk about simple and complex assets and how do we work with them, how do we work with textures. The last optional part is about syncing all the tools that we have for our artists. This is optional because if I will be able to get everything, all the content in the right time, we'll talk about that. If not, then just skip it. And there are going to be some simple conclusion part. So, oops. Hey. Is that it? Hey. If anyone knows anything about what has happened, it can help me. He can help me. Oh? Toggled? Toggle? Oops. How can I do that? I haven't pressed a thing. Function keys here. Cool. So while Carly is coming, I'll tell a little bit about the Nival. So Nival, and shortly about myself. So I've been in the industry for more years than I do care to remember. So I've been working in two companies. One is Create Studios, which is in St. Petersburg, Russia, and it's just working with different console titles. And the other one is Nival, which I'm working now for 3+ years. We are, we are in development of Prime Vault project for 3+ years. Nival itself is quite a huge global company. We are more than 15 years in development and have created such titles as Heroes of Might and Magic 5, probably you have heard about that, Blitzkrieg, Aether Lords, and other stuff. Now we are operating several titles from the Asia on the Russian market to bring it to Russian players. And so it's completely dead. Maybe turn off, on and off.
Yeah, let's do that.
Sorry guys for that, just some miracle happens sometimes. Okay. Yep, so we also do publisher activity, and the title called King's Bounty that was nominated yesterday for the best gameplay but didn't get an award. So this is our project, and we are happy to publish it on the Facebook recently. So while this is, tries to boot. They're going to be a short demo of our projects, and so you will see the video, but so I'm moving to the next block, which is like what the pipeline is. In most of the cases, when we hear talks about the pipeline, people do talk about any kind of art activity that we have in the project. So if you are drawing a texture, if you're creating high poly mesh, this for some uncertain for me reason called pipeline. While if we take a look on the dictionaries and definitions of what the word pipeline means, oops, I need to log on, sorry. Then it turns out that the pipeline is only about like dealing with data and transferring the data all over the central processing unit or your your game and DCC. So it's all about data management and passing the data. And there's also another word that is really important and useful, which is called workflow. Workflow defines different steps that you have in your processes just to get the job done from the start to the finish. So today we're going to talk about the pipeline, not about the workflow. So I hope this guy will boot someday. Oh, yeah, that's it. Okay, just proceed. It's kind of hard to proceed without the presentation, in fact, but I'll try to do it. So if we know what the pipeline is, so let's talk about the things that are important and are not important for the pipeline. Yep. Okay. So when we're talking about the pipeline, we don't really care about the visual quality of the asset. So it can be a cube, it can be sphere, it can be high poly next-gen character for the Dominance War 5. Nobody really cares about that because all we need to do is just pass the data from like DCC to the game. Let me see if we can see on the screen. Cool. Can we switch? Oh, good. We have seen it. So sorry, let's go back to slides very quickly just to get into the flow. So several titles mentioned above in the bottom of the slide are the titles from the Crate Studio. So basically, these are console titles like PlayStation 2, Nintendo DS, PSP, and other stuff. So several words about Nival. If you're interested, you can go to official site and get the same information there. And so a couple projects of development, as I have already told you before, the Prime World and King's Bounty Allegiance. Let's see the video. Hopefully we get it. Oh, we got even sound. So this is a King's Bounty project, original Russian API done by Katauri company, which is a really good company. And then the API was passed to Nival and to Kranz Production. So we are publishers here, and we helped guys from Kranz Production to bring it to what we see now in the game. You can go to Facebook and play it, and now we have iPad version in the development. So I hope to see it just like sooner or later, but it'll be there. So yep, let's try to enjoy the video. Can we make sound a little bit higher? Cool, thank you. So all the assets are taken from original series, and so if you're a fan of it, you just go get it and enjoy it. Yeah. So now we're switching to Prime World. So Prime World is a kind of huge project containing two parts. One is social part, and you can see it in the screen right now. So this is about a castle, building your own buildings, managing your army, managing your heroes. So you can develop here your army, basically. Then you go to the battle, and this is session part of our game. It's Dota-style gameplay. So 3 rods, 2 bases, 2 teams with 5 team members, and really, really cool action inside. So just go and see. Yeah, we have some fun here, just like mini game, to bring casual players to our game, because Dota-style gameplay is too hardcore, and we have some features that allows us to like get the casual gamers enjoy our game. So the base is about to be defeated, and here it goes, boom. So we are planning an open alpha release for Russian players in about a month, and it will be open worldwide, I believe, like in 3 or 4 months. So you'll have a chance to enjoy it. So shortly about the technologies that we're using. The session part, where we have all these cool effects and animations and stuff like that, is done using our internal technology. The social part, which we call Castle, is done with Unity, and we use Unity to bring this to the web, and I hope that someday you will see it on the iOS and Android. So yep, that's it about Nival and projects. I will not mention anything about that anymore. So these are 2 definitions that I would try to just get from my memory. You can go and check the Babylon English Dictionary and Oxford English Dictionary to just get these right words. So yeah, the pipeline itself is all about the data management. So basically, it can be described with a very simple scheme that we have in the bottom of the slide. We have some digital content creation tool. It can be Maya, Max, XSI, it doesn't matter. Then we have, so this is like initial start position for us. On the other hand, we have game engine. So it can be Unity or any kind of other language, other engine. Nobody cares. The whole pipeline is just this simple green arrow right in between. And just pipeline is all about storing data, so we need to define the formats we're using and places where we store that stuff. Oh, sorry, I thought that there was a question. And also we are talking always about the transfer and different type of conversion that we do when we import and export data from DCC to game engine. So quick overview of important and non-important things for a pipeline. So what's not important? We don't really care about the way of the asset was created. You can purchase it somewhere, you can do it on your own, you can just use your amazing 3D artist skills to get it done. We don't care about the pipeline, because the pipeline must work on any type of given asset. We don't care about the visual quality of the asset. It can be anything. We don't care about the time that was spent for the asset creation, because the pipeline doesn't know a thing about that. And we don't care about things like textures and other things like amount of bones that you have in your character. But what's important on the other side? We're really interested to understand what is the time needed for iteration to get the content from DCC to the game engine. We are interested in the complexity of this iteration, so this is really important. How many buttons do our artists need to press to get the asset into the game? We are more than interested in the complexity of the asset, so which types of assets we can get from DCC. Is it just a mesh, or it just can be skin mesh, or can we handle materials from DCC to the game engine? Also, we do need to care about the reliability of the iteration, because like when you get your pipeline to the production, it gets just tons of stress, and it needs to work 24/7 every day. And also, we do care about the overall control and flexibility of the pipeline. So how is it easy to modify our project, our pipeline for new project needs? So let's talk about basic stuff about Unity 3D asset pipeline. So on the very top of everything, we have a DCC. It can be Maya, Max, XSI, Blender, Cinema, whatever. Then there comes the FBX. This is a universal intermediate format. So the size of the block for the FBX is a little bit narrow, just because the FBX can't contain all the information that is stored in the native formats that we have for Maya or Max. And then there comes the Unity internal binary format. So there's a conversion from FBX to this format every time that you just drag and drop FBX file there. So once we're done with that, let's see the two ways of storing the assets in Unity. First of all, the art assets can be stored in the native DCC format, and you can store this directly in the project. The other way is to keep art assets in the separate file structure, so they look parallel, and all the assets are transferred to the project with export and copying. Let's take a look on pros and cons of two approaches. So this is a slide. I hope that you can see that we have my binary file here and a couple of textures in TGA format right in the Unity project. And on the side of Unity, this looks like we have a mesh, and we have a couple of textures here. So what are good and bad things about that? So first of all, it's very simple and easy way to understand how to store these assets. But on the other hand, we have bigger data volume. As I have shown you before, storing data in native format it occupies more space, since the scene can contain information like, let's say, about the cameras, about some rendering settings and other stuff that just could not be used in the game. Also, it's very uncertain, but still, if you have your scene in native format, first of all, you need to run Maya, then just open the scene. This is done in the background, you don't see it, but still it happens. And then you need to export FBX file, temporary FBX file, and after that, it gets imported to the Unity. So we got import in 2 steps. As soon as we need to re-import all the stuff all the time on all the computer that we have in our project, it's very bad. It affects badly on the performance. Another good thing about this way of storing assets is that it's a really nice marketing trick. You can do tons of videos about, hey guys, we have seamless connection, like Maya and Unity. But in fact, it's just a mix of art and programming data, and programmers are not really happy about that because all they need is just scripts. They don't need textures and PSD files, because they are huge and they don't need them to work. So next good thing about this is that you can adjust the import script. At least it can be easily done for Maya. There's a mail script that just is a part of the engine, so you can go and change it. But the problem is that on the bigger project that you have like 25, 30 persons working on it, you need to find a way to adjust this file after each Unity update, and you need just to deliver this file to program files or just somewhere, and this is really bad. The last thing, but not the least, is data integrity. So yeah, cool. I have saved the file in Maya, then I switch to Unity and then get the data imported. Nice. But in fact, a 3D scene is not an asset. Later I'll explain you why. So sorry, but it's denied. We don't use this approach. The other way is to store data separated. So we do have here, and I hope that you can see. No, you don't. So this is ArtSource project, and this is a Unity project. So we have tons of files for the artists here in Maya Binary and Maya Swatches, my favorite folder. And here on the Unity side, everything is clean. We have an like FBX file and 2 files for the textures. So what good and bad about that? So first of all, we keep data separated for artists and for programmers. But the problem here is that the data can be out of date. If it happens, then you need to do the tools, do the pipeline, and talk to your artist not to do things that leads to problems in this case. Another nice thing is that we have one-step import. So if we keep the data in FBX format, it just imports to the binary. We don't need to open Maya in background. Another nice thing about that is that we can easily customize scripts for FBX export in any given DCC using native scripts. We don't care about stuff like, okay, does Unity guys support this package or not? Yeah, you can get any kind of software, write your own script for FBX export and use it. The problem here is that there's no export script out of the box, but it's kind of not that difficult to write it on your own. And also, very cool thing about that export tools and scripts, they can be updated using common mechanisms that you basically use in any kind of studio that you have. I'll show you later how it's done. So this is a approved approach, and we use it widely. So let's take a look on the simple asset scene just to understand what's inside. This is a building that we have in our game. It contains a couple of static meshes, a group for meshes that are animated using transforms, joints here, and skin mesh. You just don't see it. OK. That's why I'm explaining you. One important thing here that if we have 2 separate file structures, we do need to find a way to synchronize them. So on the ArtSource part, we're using Maya projects to just have all the passes for the resources like textures relative. So on here, just like, I hope you can see, so it starts not from the drive letter, but from the name buildings. So just this is relative pass for the texture. What do we need to export an asset like this? First of all, we need to check for some just general errors like missing materials or some missing mesh, I don't know, stuff like that. Then we need to understand what nodes we need to export. And as you can see here in an example, we don't need to export this, just this plane, because it contains concept art that is needed for the production, but it doesn't, we don't need to see it in the game. So as soon as we have understood which nodes we wanted to export, we need to remove all other stuff. So you should better delete everything that is unneeded, and then do the export selected. If you do the export all, you will get some extra garbage nodes. So it's recommended to use export selected in this case. And then we must do some file management. So first of all, we need to specify the path for the FBX file to be exported, and we need to copy the textures for this FBX file. So do we really need to do it manually? No, never treat your artists like these monkeys that just like, okay, do this job. I don't care that you're just spending so much time on it. So here's a video how it works. So this is an asset. It's stored in a separate art source, and it's not connected to Unity anyhow. So as you can see that we have 2 static meshes here, a bunch of transformation nodes for the animation. Yep. Yep, there's a skin mesh. Probably you won't be able to see how deformation in the animation, but still there's some nonlinear deformation. So yeah, we have joints here just to make it work. Yep, just quick demonstration of the relative paths. So yep, here we have relative paths for the texture, and here there's a custom head-up display for Maya which shows the project paths and then the relative scene paths. Yep, this is about the file content. So the workspace.ml is a file to match the root of the art folder in art source, and there's another file called root.art, this dummy file that we use to specify the art root folder in Unity project. So here's a script I have wrote to do the FBX export. It contains a box with information here. So this is a list of the nodes that needs to be exported. On the top, we have a message about that, hey, we have an error with missing texture. So let's go to Hypershade and see if it's really so. Yep, there's a missing texture. So, but if I get it to the material, I understand that, OK, so no problem. We have some diffuse map. So if we get it and throw it in Unity, it will work. So this message, this error is not critical. So yep, there's something bad with this pass. Yep, going back. And so as you can see that we don't have this mesh listed here. So we have only 2 static meshes in this list, and the mesh with the reference plane is not listed. Same goes for the texture. The texture is not listed in the list of the texture that we have to be exported. So this is achieved by a very simple trick, very effective trick, that just we use NE prefix for such a node. So you can name a single mesh like this in this way, so like NE reference or something like that. Or you can use a group and get all the node there to be ignored. So this is the most artist-friendly way we were able to find. So now I'm showing you that, OK, so the export process has happened. We have an FBX file and two files for the textures here. I need to bring this in the scene. Up. OK, hit the play button, and we will be able to see that. OK, so these assets were in different file structures, but we are able to write very simple script that will give our artists a seamless way to get the data to the Unity project. And the project will be clean and nice. So yeah, everything works. We can just double check that it's just the same. So let's move to more complex assets. And complex asset in this case will be characters. So what the character is, character basically contains some deformation skeleton that we need to get to the engine. Also, it contains a single rig which we use to make the life of the animators easier. We do have single or multi-skin meshes that are deformated by this skeleton, and we do have several animations, so like more than 2. Because we're talking about the pipeline, we need to understand, so what is the way to store the data like this? So everything can be in one Maya scene, for example. Skin, skeleton, and all the animations. It's a really bad approach, but still it's just damn straightforward, and just quite often you can see it used in the studios. The main problem here is that if you need to adjust one animation, you need to open the scene with all the animations. And if you just do the export in this case, you have to re-export all the animations all the time. So they take huge time all over the project. So another way to store data is to have a separate scene for the rig and several animation clips in separate files. So on the side of Unity, you will have just the same using naming convention. So Unity supports it, and it works really good. So the second approach is really certified by NIVAL, and we use it widely. Let's take a look on the clips, because it seems like nobody really understands how the clip works and why they are so powerful. So here's a sample scene with the character. We have skin mesh here. We do have deformation skeleton and controls, so these different things that makes the life of the animator easier. Yeah. And there's also a node called character set. It's really important node, and you will see it in action soon. So here's the demo. It's Maya only, so it's not about Unity. Here we have one Maya binary file to store the asset with the skin and several animation files. I have wrote another script for our animators to make the whole process easy and nice. So it allows us to import all the clips that we have in the folder in one shot. We can easily filter all the stuff that we have, do the import, and get all the clips here in the scene. So if you select one of these clips, you will just set up the timeline to match the start and end frame, and you can easily preview the animation that you are looking at. So all this done on top of Trucks Editor, which is in fact just a scheduler for the clips that we have. So clips is a very nice thing because these are just abstract containers. It's like some kind of a layer that you just have on top of the animation curves. You can easily move them, shift them, scale, trim, split them into parts, blend with each other, but you won't affect animation curves in this anyway. It's like just an abstraction layer. On the next slide, I'll show you how it works in Maya. So yeah, here's a couple of examples of manipulation that you can perform with animation clips. So for the moment, I'm doing like three post cycles. So just to make it longer, and I'm stretching it to increase the time. Yep, and we can see that. Yep, so the character starts to move just a little bit quicker. These clips, yep, I think I'll just, yeah. So if we take a look on the Visor, which is an editor for Maya to be able to sort the content in your scene, there's a tab called Character Clips. So, and here you can see just another clips. These are source blocks that connects to the animation curves. So while we can have lots of instance clip in the Trucks Editor, we can duplicate easily. The number of source clips stay the same. So because we have just an instances, and we do not duplicate any extra data. So it's really cool. So how does the clips work? How do the clips work? So this is quite complicated picture, but it's quite simple if you understand what we're talking about. So on the left here, we have a bunch of animation curves for the control. So these nodes, basically, they're coming from animation clip file. Here on the right, we do have a character rig. That's why we have so many weird connections and just weird layout of the nodes between each other. The magic happens here in the middle. So here's a closer look on it. You can, yeah, OK. Here's a couple of tips for you. So we have only 5 nodes here, so it's kind of easy to get into. First of all, we do have character set, which I have mentioned before. So character set is just the list of all the channels that we have in our character rig. And so this is the list of channels that we can affect on to deform our character. Another node is called Clips Library. And so basically it contains information about imported animation curves and information about the source clips here. So this Clips library can be represented as a huge table. It's like you have a definition of all the curves, definition of the channels that you affect in character rig, and then you have the first column describing the clip. So this is like a link between animations, clip, and controls from character set. So this is the instance clip, and we were playing with it in Trucks Editor in the video before. So they can be numbered, so we can easily duplicate them, but source clip will be just one. And here's the scheduler. So scheduler is the Trucks Editor itself, but it's called another way. I don't know why guys from Autodesk decided to do that. But this guy is responsible for timing and for the timeline and gets all information about the clips and animation curves and send it back to the character set to deform the character. Clips in Unity, how it's done on the Unity side. This is the only documentation that I was able to find, but this is more than enough. So if you do follow quite simple naming convention, like name of the character, add symbol, and name of the animation, you will get this imported as a number of animation clips for this character. So what do we need to export animation stored in clips in this way? First of all, we need to export skin and skeleton without no animation to a separate FBX file. Then we can delete the skin shape because it's not needed for the animation, and then we have a cycle. We need to have a cycle for all animation clips. First of all, we delete on clips on the scene to not to get some errors. Then we load next clip in the list, adjust the timeline to match the start and end of the clip, and then we export the skeleton with animation bake. So how does it work? Now, we have this scene with the character. Here we have like binary, several animation files and one binary file for the character. On the side of Unity, we have nothing, and now we run a script. Okay. So it has found three animation clips for this character. We press export button, and the export process is going on now. One by one. Okay, that's it. Let's switch to Unity. So here we have three FBX files for the animations with right names, and one file for the character itself. So now Unity is importing file, and we can get our character in the scene. As you can see that here on the right side, we do have three animation elements, so it perfectly matches our expectations. And we can see that everything works as it should. Now I'm trying to show you that we have all these clips, and they were working before in Maya. So again, seamless, and artists do not care about anything. That's it. Now let's take a look on the file content of this FBX files. So first of all, we take the file with the character. So as you can see that for the moment, we don't have any character rig, so it was removed while the export process, and we are keeping FBX file as light as possible. So here's the skin. Here's a bunch of joints that are exported. And on the very top of it, we have a garbage node called fkroot. This is the issue with the export selected. So even if you're just selecting very accurately the nodes that you have and do the export selection, sometimes Maya just gives you some extra nodes just for free, and they're just unused anyway. So if you take a look on the files for the animations, they contain no visual information. So all the shapes are deleted to keep the scene to keep the FBX file even more light. Nothing to see, but we can take a look on the graph editor and see that, okay, we get all the keys here. So animation data is quite dense here, and we reduce the amount of keys on the Unity side. I would not recommend you to play with the default parameters, so they work, and if you do the tweaks, sometimes you get so strange result, and just like, okay, we're just using the default parameters, just don't do the tricks. And here, you can see that keys are reasonably optimized here, and it's quite good. I believe this is it. So several things about the optimization. So what I've shown you before is an idea to optimize the intermediate file and not the source file that you use, that your artists use. So sometimes things that just can be treated as a garbage for the 3D asset in the game are really helpful for the artist. So that's why you need to find a way to easily optimize this file. The best way to optimize scene, to optimize the scene, is to delete unused nodes, because as you could see, that export selected sometimes works bad. Also, there are some current FBX SDK export limitations, and they are in following. So unfortunately, you can't specify the time range for the exported animation. The only way to set the time range is to bake the animation on the side of FBX plugin. That's why I wasn't able to bake all the animation in all the clips and then export them as separate files. It's not, you can't say that it's really bad, but still this is something that I'm missing in FBX SDK. So that's why we do the optimization of the animation curve on the Unity side. And also, I would like to recommend you to be really careful with pre and post processors, especially in large projects, because this basically means longer import time. So here's an example of XML file describing the scene with the character that I have shown you before. So it contains information about the root joints, about skin mesh, about materials, and other stuff. And I was trying to use that to reconstruct the material from Maya on the side of Unity. So while it was quite a success for one asset, it turns out to be a huge increase in time of import on all the PCs that we have in our project. That's why we have gave up this approach. So it's like this. It was fail. I hope that the cache server will help us a lot in this case, but I don't know when it will be delivered, so we just don't using this currently. Now we're moving to the next section. It's called working with textures. So the main, So as you can see here, we have an image from Photoshop, and texture contains things like, the Photoshop file contains a lot of extra information that is not needed for the in-game texture. So first of all, we do have layers. Then we have effects on the layers. We have different adjustment layers, groups, and other stuff. While on the sides of Unity, we just don't see it and don't have it, and we have another things that we need to take care of. So same simple diagram to just show you what we do while we do the export of the textures. We start with a PSD file, so with Photoshop file, with layers, groups, and other stuff that is not needed. Then it gets exported to target format or PNG format, any other given graphic format that contains required information like RGB channels and alpha. And then it gets imported to the Unity and converts to optimized texture. It's kind of funny, but when you do this import, you add extra information there. Basically, it's about like MIP mapping, or you can convert the texture to a cube map, normal map, and other stuff. So just it's not narrowing there, but it's expanding in the last block. So the main problem that we are facing while we're using two separate structures, file structures, is the following way. Is the following problem. If we have adjusted the texture in the Photoshop, there's no way to just pass it automatically to the Unity, and also we are not able to use the open button that we have in Unity, and it's damn effective when you're just tweaking lots of textures. So we have filled this gap with two actions. I'll just show you in the next slide. So we are able to use JavaScript for Photoshop and send textures to the Unity using that. And also, we are able to redirect the files from Unity to the Photoshop using custom viewer, which can be enabled in preferences for your project. So how does it work? Let's start with the Photoshop. I'll create test texture. Yeah. Kind of boring. So cool. Let's save it to our art source project. So Unity Sandbox, art source, like heroes, and another of my favorite folder, test. Okay, so this is a PSD file. After it's saved, so we have a name for that, we can run an action. So in this action does for us target texture in art source format, so we can use it easily in Maya. And then we have a copy of it in our Unity project. So let's switch to Unity to check if this is really so. Yeah, we have this texture here in the project. So now let's go back to Photoshop and close the PSD file. And back to Unity and press the open button. There's going to be a pop-up. Yep, so there was pop-up to redirect the files. And now we have a PSD file opened that is on art source. So this is completely seamless for the artist. And so after I have done the changes in the PSD file, I have called the action one more time. So the PSD file got saved. We got an export of this target file to the art source, and we have the copy of it in the Unity. So yeah, this is kind of amazing because this is so simple to do, and just like artist loves this feature. So how did we do that? First of all, when I was facing the problem that, okay, we have different file locations, so how do I can pass the data from art source to Unity source? I was really surprised to find out that there's an IDE for the Photoshop to write your own JavaScript there. And this IDE is just come out of the box by default, and so it contains features like code completion. And also, you're able to put the Photoshop on pause. You can add a breakpoint. Do you guys know that just you can debug the Photoshop on just JavaScript level? It was just, when I first seen that, it was so amazing for me. Just like, OK, I got a breakpoint, cool. And here, in the right panel, I have information about data structure. So I can get into understand what objects do I have now running in the Photoshop, and I can see my variables here. So several words about file redirection. This is a quite simple console application. We have really simple and straightforward local XML configuration file in the Unity project. And we need to specify 3 things. The very first thing is to specify the Unity path, so the path in the Unity project for the art assets. Then we have the same path for the art project, and we need to specify a path to the editor we want to be used to open the textures. So this application does the following: just grabs the file name of the texture that needs to be opened, then it replaces the Unity path with the art path and sends it to the editor. And as soon as it's your application, you can do whatever you want there. We can, for example, search for a PSD file in the art source directory, and open a PSD file instead of target file. This is damn effective. Or, for example, we can copy a missing file from Unity project if it's not presented in art source project. And I'm sure that you can do any other stuff like this. So how do we deliver all this naval magic to the artists that we have in our project? First of all, we need to understand what do we need to sync. It's really good to have just the same files and just the same configurations on all the machines that are involved in your project. So we are thinking files following. So first of all, FBX plugin, because when a new version comes, you just don't want to run over the studio and just like, hey guys, you need to update this plugin in your Maya directory. No. Instead of that, we're just putting it to our we put everything under SVN and store it there. So also, there's a way to store the FBX export preset, just to have the same export settings all over your project on each machine. And we do need to synchronize 2 scripts. So one is Mel script that I have shown you before for FBX export, and the other script is JavaScript for the Photoshop. So how do we do this? We have a project called Naval Artist Tools, or NAT. In fact, this is just a set of scripts and plugins and shaders and other stuff which is stored on the SVN. It was just originally designed to use mostly by Maya because we have so many things to improve in Maya, and just we're doing it all the time. So there's 3 ways to get the updates of these tools. So first of all, you can get the update when you start Maya. You can do update from current Maya session. It's quite a simple thing to do if you need to write some very simple script. And you can do the manual update using Tortoise SVN client. So there are 2 parts in this tool. So we have visible part. Like we have an extra menu in Maya that contains all the information about the tools, and just you can call and open any tool you need. And there's an invisible part which we use to have the same settings on all Maya version that we have just on all the machines that are involved in the project. So things like top axis, like frame rate for the animation, and other stuff like that. So as soon as it's just a set of files under this way, and we can use it both for internal team and our outsourced artists. So this is the way how it works. I hope you can see it. So we have a very simple CMD file. It sets, first of all, it gets the update of everything to just a call to Tortoise SVN. And then we start Maya and start it with a given script. Here's the parameter. So then we can create our own menu and do all the stuff there as we need. So, conclusion, just to remind you what things are important and which things are not important for the pipeline, I won't read it once again, just like I have tried to cover everything important on the right side. The thing here is that the thing that I'm describing you here can be used in any given pair of DCC and game engine. So that's really cool that I can use Unity to just prove and show that, because when we have done the same in our internal technology, I wasn't able to share it with you. So this is it for the moment. And so if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
One question for you. Over to your left.
Cool.
How do you update your Photoshop tools?
Same again as just a file under, I better show you. Can we switch back to can we please switch back to the demo machine? Okay, cool. So there's a folder here. Oops, not on this, on the D. Yeah, cool. So this is just a file that we need to update. This is it.
Right.
So as I can show you before, that the action was very simple. All the action does is just load the script and run it. So this is just one file.
Right, cool, thanks.
Okay.
Do you guys use file referencing very much with your character rigs and animation, or do you tend to do all your animation right in the rig file and then run the export all at once?
Can you please repeat, because I can barely hear
Sure,
you.
yeah, sorry. Do you guys tend to use file referencing very much for your character rig files in Maya to do animation, or do you always do the animation right on the rig file and export it all at once?
So the question was about the rigging. Hopefully, I hope that I could understood you. So we have a scene with the rig. So it contains only rig. The animator open this scene, animate it, and then do the export of the clip as a separate file. So this is an excellent way to get all the data separated. So animator can never break the rig, because if something goes wrong, just you get only this broken animation clip. That's it. So is it the answer, or?
Sure, I was mainly just asking like why you would have made the choice to not use like a reference file to a rig, reference in the rig for separate animation files.
Yeah, so I'm very experienced in Maya, and I can say you that if you can avoid using references, you should avoid them, really, because this is really bad feature of Maya. So references, you get so many errors there, you can't fix that. It just doesn't make any sense. And otherwise, there's very nice thing about the clips. So as I can show you, as I have shown you in the demo, so you can load a bunch of animation clips in the scene. And you can preview them, and you can just do the layout, anything. If you have all your animation in separate scenes, you need to open all the scenes all the time. So just kind of hard to preview this stuff. The clips are really awesome for these purposes.
Great, thanks.
Okay, thanks for the good question. I have one gift for you. So this is a tail, original tail of Prime World from the E3. If anyone here was on the E3, probably you have seen this stuff. It was kind of crazy, and so you can go and get it. Applause, guys! What? Are you dead? Okay, come. Grab it. Yeah. Thanks for the question. So, anybody else?
Do you have your presentation available for us online somewhere?
I hope that this will be delivered by Unity guys. If not, you can get my contacts or business card and write me down, and I can send you everything.
Okay,
so, no
thank
problem. Oh, sure. Hey guys, just an idea. I had one gift, but probably have another one, so you should think a little bit about the questions. Yeah? Yeah, we got a brave man here. Okay.
So as I understand it, your basic process is save your files elsewhere, but in two places at once, like you're saving if you have your PSD file, you're saving out your Targa in a source file, but then you're also saving it to
Yeah,
a
that's
Unity
it.
project folder.
Yep.
And then when you're going backwards, you just have a special script within Unity that will...
It's not a script on the side of Unity, it's a special viewer. So the idea is very simple. Can you please get back the demo machine? Okay, cool. I hope to find quickly import fun, assets. Oops. Not here. Out, no. Weber, no. Either? No. Oh, there you are. So this is an executable file. This is just a console application you can write and using Python, C#, whatever. So there's a configuration file here. As you can see, it's yep. So and this file is mentioned in the Unity. Unfortunately, I can't run it right now because it will try to open a very huge project. So there's an option for you to get custom viewer for your textures right in the Unity. I don't know the reason why the Unity guys have gave us this option, but just it's really awesome because when I was able to find this, I was like, yoo-hoo, we got it done, just out of the box. So thanks again for the excellent question. Come here for the gift. This is a full metal USB stick, 8 GB with PrimeVault logo. So yep, you got it. Applause, guys. Yeah. This was the last one. In fact, I don't have anything else. So if you do not have questions, like go for to have something to eat, and you can contact and get my business card here. Hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you.